If there was a movie based on my dating life, it would be called Almost Homeless, one woman's journey to rescue every broken man. I have about the same reaction to an emotionally unstable man that I have to an ASPCA commercial. Oh my God, look at them. They're all so adorable. I just want to take them all home and feed them and nurture them until I'm depleted of all of my emotional resources, until I'm just a shell of my former self. It's sick, really. Most women will Google a man before a date to make sure that he hasn't been to prison. I will Google him to make sure that he has. I react to men just out of prison the same way a junkie reacts to heroin. I'm an unhealthy relationship addict. I freebase shitty men. A friend of mine recently bought her boyfriend a shirt from the college he went to. I once bought mine an LA County jail shirt because that's where he studied.
I mean, I have daddy issues, but who doesn't, right? But I didn't even have a shitty dad, you know? So that curveball basically comes out of nowhere. He wasn't great, but he tried. But really, nowadays, who does have a great dad? Our benchmark for dads is so ridiculously low anymore. We basically just blow our loads anytime a dude takes his kid to the park, takes a picture of it, and posts it online. I'm glad I can now blame the quarantine for my celibacy. At this point, my vagina doesn't even remember what a real dick looks like. I like to masturbate during the day because I work from home. It's like I'm getting paid for it. I did find a for women category on Pornhub though. The videos are all 2.5 minutes long. The woman doesn't come and she ends up going home alone to masturbate. It's a hero's journey, really. So I was masturbating the other day and I got an arm cramp. That was cool. And now I don't know if it's because I'm starting to get older and I last longer now, or if it's because I'm just old and frail. Either way, I've started to have to use both hands to masturbate, and now I'm ambidextrous. But what I can't quite figure out is whether to start out with the strong hand or finish with it. So my dude friend suggested that I use the stranger method to spice things up in the bedroom. Or bathroom. That's basically when you sit on your hand for about 15 minutes until it goes completely numb. And then it feels like a stranger's doing it. I feel like that only works for men though, because as a woman, I don't really want to associate a stranger with anything sexual. Just really triggering, you know? Social media has become the sole source of information and communication during the quarantine. And I don't really understand hashtags or how they work, but I do understand why they chose the word hashtag instead of pound. Like, pound winning doesn't sound quite as good as hashtag winning. And then pound me too sends a whole different message than intended. Date rape statistics have gone down. It's pretty hard to roofie someone in a Zoom call. Homeschool shootings, however, have shot way up. I have a theory that God was the first sexual predator. Hear me out. He never asked Mary for consent. That's nowhere in the Bible. He basically just flies in through a window one night, fucks her, flies right back out. Immaculate conception, just a fancy way to say ghost rape. And that's why Christians are so up in arms about abortion. If Planned Parenthood would have been around during biblical times, we would just have the Old Testament. That would have been like if J.K. Rowling died right after she wrote the first Harry Potter. We would never know how that ended. I kind of wonder, though, if that's why Bill Cosby signed up to do Ghost Dad. So I have this friend that works for a plastic surgeon's office. She said that every employee gets one free procedure a year. And that's how you can tell how long each of the nurses has worked there. She just got fired, though, so that's why one of her tits is lower than the other. Now she kind of walks like Kevin Spacey in The Usual Suspects. You know, I've never actually received an unsolicited dick pic. My ex-boyfriend is the only person who's ever sent me a picture of his junk, and that's only because I asked for it. And I'm not entirely convinced he actually understood the concept of a dick pic, because the first time I asked him, he was driving, and instead of waiting until he got home to take the picture, he just undid his pants right there, flopped his flaccid dick on the leg of his khakis, and snapped a picture. And then the second time, he sent me a dick pic from underneath his dick. Yeah, underneath his dick. It basically just looked like his balls were taking the picture. So I was in college, and the girl sitting next to me got a dick pic during class. She immediately got up and went to the bathroom, and I can only assume that she went in there to take a picture of her pussy. I would never do that. The overhead lighting in school bathrooms is so fucking terrible. I have the worst bags under my eyes, and I can't even imagine what that type of lighting would do to my vagina. I'm alone and bored a lot now. And I often sit and wonder, what would Aunt Frank do?
Hi, I'm Emily Petersen, and I have been self-isolating, and I'm not sure I still remember how to speak. So I'm going to show you a story. So one night, I was just chilling in my bed when all of a sudden my closet cracked open and a monster walked into my room. "I am going to eat you," the monster roared. Obviously, I was frightened, but I looked at the monster and something told me I didn't need to worry. "I don't think you're going to eat me," I said. "You have such kind eyes, and besides, I am far too nice of a person to get eaten." "No, I am a monster. Eating people is what I do. Good, bad, it doesn't matter. All I see is my next meal." But I didn't believe him. There was something beautiful about his honesty, and I felt like there was something special about him. And moreover, I think I felt like there was something special about me. "Just because you've always done something doesn't mean you have to keep doing it," I told the monster. "You don't have to eat me. We could be really good friends. We could confide in each other. What if just this one time you didn't eat the person?" As I tried to establish meaningful eye contact with the monster, he suddenly pounced. The monster leapt onto my bed and attacked me. I tried to fight back as best I could, but he was far too powerful. It was a bloodbath, and before I knew it, he had swallowed me whole. As I was being digested, I decided right then and there that I was going to start believing people when they said they were going to hurt me.
Oh, hello. I'm just looking at this horrendous picture someone tagged me in. I'm making that face I save for the person who's spying on me through my camera phone when I'm using the potty in the morning. I usually keep this camera covered because I'm a lady. I have to push. It doesn't just fall out of me like some caveman. My household has a couple musical numbers for going around the house. A popular song for heading into the bathroom. A poop is not a poop without a cell phone. And then we have a very classic tune for special occasions upon exiting the bathroom. Unexpected number 2. Unexpected number 2. Speaking of number 2s, I was able to get more toilet paper. The paranoia of my camera phone coverage does spill into my everyday life. But it wasn't until the great toilet paper scarcity of 2020 did it start to envelope other people's bathroom routines. I started taking a running tally of my boyfriend's bathroom usage. And I was starting to build up a pretty strong case that he was saving up all of his shits for my house, and I was being used for my paper commodities. Shelter in place forces any relationship to confront that modesty hurdle. I remember there was a time I'd go into the bathroom and turn the sink on just to eke out a little bit of gas that had been accumulating in my inflated stomach. I'd do this after I reached a point of such pain. It felt like I was going to explode. One time, I made broccoli, and that afternoon, when we walked into my house, I sheepishly said, "Oh, it smells like farts in here," because I roasted broccoli this morning. And then I jokingly added, "And then I walked around farting afterwards," being sure to add way too many, I'm just kidding," after all the laughter died down. Today, I Googled, "Why are my butt cheeks polka dotted?" My sister seems to think this is a lotion issue. Google didn't give me a sufficient answer. But I did read that lesbians are the most intelligent form of human life. I tend to be a real modest person when it comes to modesty. So after reading this fact about the mentally superior, I was disheartened, considering my penchant for the disco stick. After my last boyfriend and I broke up, I called my dad and said, "I'm afraid I will never find anyone. I end up hating everyone I'm together with." And my dad said, "Well, Alicia, you can't change who you are." Like so many people, I suffer from this condition called love at first sight, where I fall madly in love with the person I know absolutely nothing about. And then as their personality starts to unfold and this projection I put upon them starts to dissipate, my affinity starts inching itself in the opposite direction. Someone told me that in order to prevent this from happening, refrain from intercourse until you've had a series of 10 successful dates. I told this advice to another afflicted woman who was not part of this upper echelon of human intelligence, and she said, "Oh, well, I'd never have sex again. Something about that person would get under my craw." There's the initial getting to know someone period, where texting comes with such ease. A Friday evening filled with playful banter, and then all of a sudden, they go dark. The next day, they send a text message that says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. My phone died." And that stirs up something menacing inside me. I just let them in on the first part of my thoughts. "Oh, darling, I'm so glad you survived an evening of being mentally disemboweled. Don't worry about me. I had just as much fun watching the paint dry on my toenails. ... plotting how I am going to rip your heart from your chest and stomp on it. There goes that devil on my shoulder, filling my head with paranoid delusions. My devil, She loves her job so much. She's never worked a day in her life. In my last relationship, I gained a little bit of knowledge in addition to a lightly used Tupperware set. I learned that if your partner is giving any sort of indication that they will drag your ass through hell in the case of a legal separation, then it is time to hit the bricks. That's what I tell people now. Do not marry anyone who you wouldn't want to divorce. And that's become one of my main criteria now. Someone who gives me the indication that they will be amicable in a legal separation. So I'm looking for a man with a really good divorce track record. I think that can promote some long-lasting love within me and probably some uninhibited farting. Oh, I just thought of another song. Farting is a sign of love. Farting shows you care. And on that note, thank you so much for listening.
I think quarantine's making you a little weird. When was the last time you showered? Yeah, it's lonely, like my childhood. My imaginary friends are social distancing, but I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. I have a great idea. You should call your ex. Remember that guy like a month ago that slipped into the DMs and you were like, I'm working on myself right now. I'm just not in a good spot mentally. Now at 2 a.m., you up? Yes, I am, and I fixed all of my problems. Let's make this quarantine love blossom. You could just go back to aggressively bumbling. Like day 1, I made it to the bottom of Bumble. Beeline's tapped out. It's the only time in my life I've ever been concerned about the bees dying. I should be a better person. Better person on, like, Instagram. Not real life, gross. You should probably work out more. Or just keep making Snapchat filters do all the heavy lifting. But you could, like, jog every morning. But then I'd probably get, like, kidnapped and murdered, and they'd find my body bloated, and all that work was for nothing. There's that other part of me, though, that would really like to be loved to death. Find, like, a nice Ted Bundy, someone that'll appreciate my beauty even after I'm gone. I think you might have a love addiction problem. Why? Because I got banned from Tinder? Tinder's like being in Disneyland, having fast passes to cut all the lines and jump on the best rides. I wasn't even that bad. I probably shouldn't have roasted people.
But if you put a picture up, I should be able to tell you how ugly I think your kids are.
But Tinder says it's cyberbullying or whatever.
It came from a place of concern. I was worried those kids were gonna get hurt. Blind perverts with low standards are out there. But on the other hand, it's kind of like a public service announcement, like just screaming, don't put these genetics inside you. What about that last Tinder date, the one before the excommunication? I didn't know that he was an informant or a tattletale. He reported you because you're an asshole. No, he asked to cuddle, and that's gross. I don't even hug my own father, Kyler, and I just swiped on you like an hour ago. You told him he was a pussy, double tapped him on the chest, said good game, champ, and left. Yeah, but I gave him a snack and a participation award. I think he'll be fine. Speaking of snacks, when was the last time you ate something? That wasn't coffee? I have no idea. You know what sounds really good right now? Cake. When was the last time you had cake? It's been months, like months clean and sober. Do you think we'll ever have birthday parties again? No. Nope, probably not. You're never gonna have a piece of cake ever again. And it's bad for you. Sugar's the devil's work. Yeah, but there's nothing like a Paw Patrol cake with a side of Satan, you know what I mean? Do you think Patsy Cline was ever in quarantine? Part of me thinks that maybe you should use this alone time to question some of your recent life decisions. Are you bringing up that I stole my best friend's boyfriend again? I know. I was there. And I'm not the monster. It wasn't her husband. It was her side piece. Yeah, if anything, you saved their marriage. The kids are probably making you macaroni necklaces right now. You're a hero. I mean, she's adulterous. All you did was a little insider trading. Convinced her the stock was bad, swooped in, bought all the shares. And why would you do that? The guy slept with a married woman for 3 years, and you didn't see any red flags or potential commitment issues down the road. You thought what? You were just gonna walk into a Hallmark movie and be the one? Guess what? No one is ever gonna be the one. Yeah, but he couldn't help how he met her. They met on Craigslist Personals. Okay, but how would he have known she was married? It was in the title. How are you still surprised that this relationship didn't work out for you?
He's an amazing father and he's so funny. And that body. We talking about the same dude right now? He's a bourbon belly. It's like 80 proof cirrhosis. It's like rock hard, like liver failure hard. Is that your dream dad bod? Alcoholism? The kind that forgets to pick you up, doesn't go to your recital, never makes it to the big game. Carolyn, now I know you're getting really weird because you never played sports. So how would your father not go to your sports games if you never played sports? I asked to do gymnastics. Yeah, and the man told you the truth, that you were too fat. I know, I remember. It's affected my flexibility for life for years. You need to stop acting like you've had some big quarantine breakthrough. We already knew you had daddy issues by the yoga pants, Starbucks addiction, and failed relationships. You just want misery because misery loves company, but bitch, not yours.